So Resident Evil Code Veronica released on February 3rd, 2000, and the game stood out from other Resident Evil releases by releasing on the Sega Dreamcast, joining a lineup that included Sonic and Crazy Taxi. More like, could Veronica's mouth fit in these balls? They ditched the PlayStation, which had hosted the previous releases in the franchise, and the game features Claire and Chris, the gun, Redfield. And the game takes place 3 months after the events of Resident Evil 2 and 3, and with the Raccoon City storyline neatly tied up and the turn of the millennium rapidly approaching, it was time for a new era, and Code Veronica was the first Resident Evil game to shift to fully 3D environments as well as using dynamic cameras and lighting. The tone of the game also changed, with Code Veronica basically being RE2 mixed with gothic horror, with the story of Psycho and some Day of the Dead sprinkled on top, and with a whole lot for Claire fans to be excited about. The game also featured some rather questionable marketing. Like, seriously, there's an entire article filled with stuff like this? Like, what can I say, the early 2000s were a pretty wild time. Originally set to explore the backstory of Umbrella Pharmaceuticals, the plot was to revolve around the children of a Wehrmacht officer who had fled to an island via a U-boat. But after coming to their senses, the game instead serves as the backstory for why Chris went on a multi-year gear-fueled rampage, culminating in the most iconic scene in the history of the franchise. And if you ever wondered why Resident Evil 4 was so goofy compared to 2 and 3, well, this game is the answer. They seriously had to tone down the campiness by a factor of like 10 compared to Code Veronica, and RE4 still outshines the previous titles by a mile. So it's not only the most unique emo of the bunch, it is also considered the hardest Resident Evil game by far, where you can be forced to restart the game if you didn't save enough ammo and resources for boss fights. But with all the other remakes going on, I think it's time to revisit this odd take on the Resident Evil formula, because this game is kind of insane.
I so want to enjoy this.
Okay, so right from the get-go, the most badass narrator in Resident Evil history gives us the rundown on what's been going on so far.
Raccoon City has been completely decimated due to the T-virus outbreak that was instigated by the international corporation Umbrella.
And after watching the most hectic opening cutscene to a Resident Evil game to date, we gain control of Claire Redfield, who has been taken hostage on a prison island, with a mysterious injured figure approaching her cell, and, pulling out our lighter, we get a better view of the figure. Jeez, it's not the 1920s, Claire. Anyway, after being freed, we make our way through some of the darkest and most oppressive set pieces in RE history, starting with a zombie cemetery that will make George A. Romero himself blush, after which we get ambushed by a machine gun, but we quickly realize this is something we've never actually seen before in the history of gaming.
Wait, don't shoot! Sorry about that little misunderstanding, but I thought you were another one of those
Shut up! Make one wrong move and I'll shoot!
Relax, beautiful. I said I was sorry. My name's Steve.
And like any awkward teenager, he proceeds to instantly fall in love with the first woman who actually speaks to him. And after agreeing to get off this island together, we continue on our way as we desperately fight our way through prison barracks filled with zombified soldiers, get drowned in poisonous gas, solve unsolvable puzzles, fight the sandworms from Dune, get ambushed while we restock our ammo, and accidentally release terrifying bioweapons.
Emergency shutters will close. All personnel.
Before traveling to an underground research facility using a submarine, where we run across a severely dehydrated Mr. Fantastic, and we're not even halfway through the first disc yet. But anyway, as the game starts to calm down, we make our way to a mansion where we find some creepy footage of the twins who apparently live here. And at this point we do get some good old Resident Evil puzzle solving, where we need a pair of golden Lugers to open a mysterious door in order to continue. However, grabbing them sends us all the way to Finland, home of the saunas and ancient enemy of Sweden, so we put them back and go on our merry way. But before we leave, we hear a heart-wrenching scream that only a fully grown man could ever make.
Yeah! Help me!
Steve?
And after freeing Steve before he gets cooked, he thanks us by taking the Lugers with him, but promises to give them to us if we find him some new toys. But as we set out on our new quest, we get ambushed by Lord Alfred Ashford, one of the twins from the footage before, who has now grown into a truly fearsome man.
Redfield! How dare you interfere with my operation?
What are you talking about?
You let yourself be captured so you could lead your people to this base!
I have no idea what you're babbling about.
You don't fool me! I am Alfred Ashford, commander of this base.
Oh? You must be one of Umbrella's lower level officers if you're in command of a backwater base like this one.
How dare you! The Ashford family is among the world's first and finest. My grandfather is one of the original founders of Umbrella, Inc. I'll be sure to keep you entertained before I dispose of you.
And this is where I need to confess something. You see, I accidentally lost some of my footage and had to rerun and re-record the entire starting area. And it was during this delirious second run of the game when I desperately tried to remember all the key item locations.
Dude, what's all that stuff you're grabbing?
Tools! Tools! Duct tape, zip ties, and gloves! I have to have my tools!
That I realized something. This game isn't just a survival horror game. No, it's a roguelike. And the way they just keep throwing zombies into hallways you previously cleared after retrieving key items, it's not just to spite players. No, it adds you a sense that the place is truly falling apart and you're never going to be safe. And every time you die because you get soft-locked or ran out of ammo and have to restart the game, a flame arises within you. A new burning hunger to optimize the game's complicated and borderline insane level layout. And a voice inside telling you, I need to finish this game. Anyway, as I continued through this fever dream of a game, I find some new toys for Steve, and he finally hands over the golden Lugers, all while showing off his impressive firearm skills. We also find out that Steve is a deeper character than we all thought.
See? You can depend on me.
You see, it turns out Steve's father was selling Umbrella's secrets, leading him and his father to being taken prisoners here, while his mother was killed.
Who brought you here and where is your family?
Shut up! I don't want to talk about it!
And after this truly shocking character development, we get treated to a lovely little father-son reunion. Spectacular writing. And after leaving Steve behind, we use the Lugers to open the mysterious door from before, and we're treated to a long walk up towards one of the coolest sections in the entire franchise. And upon opening the doors, guys, I'm flattered, but this is how you do it. And inside we are treated to a truly gothic horror-inspired castle with music and visuals on par with anything the later Resident Evil games throw at you. And if you ever wondered where the whimsical elements of RE Village came from, well, here it is. It's also here that we find both the twins together, with Alfred and Alexia talking to each other. And after almost getting caught,
Open to the corridor.
What is it, Alexia?
Nothing. I believe I must have been imagining things.
we manage to make our way out of the castle again, where a familiar face makes a return.
Greetings! You must be the lovely Claire Redfield.
Who are you?
Let's just say that I'm a ghost, coming back to haunt your dear brother.
Wesker?
Apparently Wesker not only survived his apparent death in RE1, but his only side effect seems to be random fits of laughter.
Who'd have thought you'd be hanging about? All the better for me.
And after smacking Claire around for a bit, he needs to deal with more pressing matters, so he hightails it out of there like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man.
See you, chump.
And after saving the guy from the introduction, we head back towards the castle, where we get jumped by Alexia, but we end up being saved by Steve.
What's going on?
And in a shocking twist, we learn that it was actually Alfred who has been pretending to be his sister all this time.
What? No!
Wait a second. What just happened?
So there never was an Alexia after all.
You mean he thinks he's two people? Okay, that's it. Let's get out of here.
Like, I just love how this place is crawling with the undead, but no, like a person thinking that they're two people, that's where it's like, oh no, I need to leave. And when the island's self-destruct sequence triggers, we desperately try to leave on the only plane still there. And while running through the game's facilities once again with the timer ticking down, I kind of realized something about this game. It's the only RE game other than RE4 that manages to have such action-packed sequences, while still retaining a constant feeling of dread and horror, unlike Resident Evil 5 and 6. Further adding to the case that this game needs a proper remake. Anyway, after getting on the plane, it seems that Alfred is trying to mess with us one last time. And if you thought a 5.545 feet, 115.5 pound woman couldn't realistically take down a tyrant, well, you'd be fucking wrong. And after slapping the shit out of it, Alfred messes with us one last time by altering the plane's course to the Antarctic. But not before Claire lays down some more questionable one-liners.
I cannot let you escape now.
Alfred! Cross-dressing freak!
And off to Antarctica we go, with Steve trying to pull some questionable moves along the way. And after crash landing into the snow, we enter an abandoned umbrella complex, and after reactivating the generators powering the electricity, we get to the single most disturbing scene in RE history. Followed by a pretty chill and relaxing room. Like seriously, this is the stuff that nightmares are made of. And as we catch up to Steve, we find a tractor that we can use to finally escape this place. But not before Steve-O gets a little love-eyed once again and accidentally fills the entire facility with poison gas. And after taking care of that problem, Alfred returns once more before finally meeting his demise.
What was that?
Probably nothing. And as we flee the facility in the snowy mists and through the fog, the Nosferatu has followed us.
Hold on, I'll wake that monster and come back.
Yeah, you hang on there, buddy.
Forget about me. Run!
Claire turns to face the Nosferatu because Claire Redfield doesn't run. And with the Nosferatu killed, Steve and Claire make their way towards the Australian base in the Antarctic and their salvation. But in the depths below the Antarctic base, a dying Alfred is slowly making his way towards his sister, Alexia. Finally awakens after 15 years in stasis, and with her powers at full capacity, she uses her long tendrils to pull both of them right back to where they start. How will they ever get out of this? And after an intense rock climbing montage befitting of a man of his stature, Chris finds out that Claire and the Redfield bloodline is in grave danger, causing him to run through the facility that somehow didn't blow up at the end of the self-destruct sequence before. But it doesn't just backtrack through Claire's areas again. No, this isn't Devil May Cry 4. He runs through all of the closed off locations from Claire's run. Eventually, however, Wesker gets a wind of him, sending some truly unsavory beings to deal with him, and we have to slap our way through spiders, zombies, big spiders, frozen zombies, electric eels, Wesker's hallway monitors, and the goddamn Ninja Turtles, before the man himself finally catches up with us.
Long time no see, Chris.
Wesker? He's still alive?
Jesus, don't shit yourself, Chris.
You attacked the island! And my sister!
Here's a little secret, Chris. I figured out that your sister is now in the Antarctic with Alexia. It's too bad you won't be seeing her again. Alexia?
And sensing that the Redfield bloodline is in immediate danger, Chris sets out to get to her before Wesker does. And after pilfering the body of Alfred Ashford and using the key items we found so far, we unlock a suspiciously familiar mansion, commissioned by the Ashford twins' father to look like the Spencer mansion, in a place that has some heavy Resident Evil movie vibes. And after finding Claire duct taped to a wall behind the staircase, like in the off chance that Chris might find her, Alexia makes a return, dishing out some sick burns.
It's Alexia!
Alexia? There really is an Alexia?
It is almost time, you genetically inferior siblings.
Before using her tentacles to slap the shit out of Chris, causing him to be out of commission for a while.
Chris!
And Claire sets out to rescue Steve on his own, but it's too late.
Help me! Claire!
And while running from him, Alexia traps us once again. But in one last defiant act, Steve breaks free from his control, saving Claire.
Claire!
Oh, Steve.
I love you, Claire.
Steve?
Meanwhile, out in the hallway, Wesker is caught up with Alexia.
At last, I found you, Alexia. Come with me.
You are not worthy of its power!
with Alexia having turned into a burning goddess, Wesker figures it's probably best to leave Chris to take care of her. And after getting one-shotted and stun-locked a couple hundred times, we finally kill her. And with Alexia seemingly taken care of, we find and activate the self-destruct sequence once more. And after reuniting with Claire, we flee the facility. And after enduring the worst first-person segment in the history of the franchise, we finally kill Alexia. But as we make our way out of the exploding facility, we get confronted by Wesker, who in the commotion has taken Claire hostage.
You get out of here, Claire.
But what about?
As a surviving member of STARS, I have to finish this.
Remember your promise.
I'll end this once and for all. Say hello to my comrades who you've killed.
I don't know where you get your confidence, Chris. Sure, I'm not human anymore. But just look at the power I've gained.
And after suffering the beatdown of a century, leading Chris to spend the next 10 years smashing rocks like his last name was Smith, we get treated to one last dialogue by Wesker.
Next time we meet, don't count on another.
Next time.
Until we meet again.
And so ends the most insane Resident Evil game to date. Wesker cackling like a maniac while the facility is crumbling around him, with Chris and Claire fleeing, vowing to end Umbrella once and for all. And with a game as insane as this, why would you ever need a remake, you might say? Well, for starters, out of all the remakes thus far, it has the potential to be the coolest out of all of them by far. Because in this game, the classic zombies are still scary, and with the plotline of Alfred going insane in his sister's absence and pretending to be here, there's just a whole lot of twists and turns that they can add in a remake, you know, amplifying the story. And it also has a ton of Wesker, like, do I need to say more? However, if you're still not convinced, here's a few more things in favor for a remake. It follows Claire, who was last seen in an extremely popular remake with RE2. It ties in with the post-credit scene of the Resident Evil 4 remake. It's a better way to set up a Resident Evil 5 remake, and it is by far the game in the franchise that is in most need of a bit of a touching up, and it could also bridge the gap between a lot of games. And finally, it's just a cool game.